All right, guys. You should be seeing my screen. If you are not, please, please, please raise your hands, put something in the question box, and let me know, hey, I'm not seeing it. Okay. All right, guys. So today we are going to be talking about just some easy miscellaneous site cleanup. Sometimes, especially UAT sites, they have a tendency to get super cluttered and just have a whole bunch of just junk data in them. And you may have a need to go in and get rid of some courses, get rid of some content in courses that you may not be using anymore, things like that. So it's also kind of a nice trick to know as far as kind of what you're wanting to do in the long run, as far as just kind of overall site maintenance and keeping it up and keeping things clean and in order. Also, there's a new feature to version 12, which is actually really, really cool. I had a client a while back ask me, if I delete an activity or resource, is there something like a recycle bin where I can make it come back? And at the time I said no. And then I had an epiphany and realized a few days later, wait a minute, version 12 has a recycle bin and they're on version 12. Super cool. So I sent her this overly excited email about a recycle bin. So luckily she was excited as I was. All right, guys. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Taylor Craig. I'm the Senior Platforms Consultant at Kineo. So again, what we're talking about today, we're talking about the new recycle bin feature in version 12. You have two different recycle bins. You've got one for the entire course. So if you accidentally completely delete a course, you do now have the ability to restore that course up to a certain amount of time based on some settings that you set as an administrator. Same goes for activities. So you have the ability to restore those up to a certain period of time as well. And then also we'll talk quickly about how you bulk delete content and how you bulk delete courses. And kind of an idea that I like to use every now and then. If I can catch that little X, well, I don't see the point of that little X. If you can't catch it, I'll just hit escape. That works. Okay, guys, so this is obviously our playground site. It probably has a whole bunch of stuff on it that we could probably clean up. So before I show you the recycle bin, let's actually go in and delete some stuff because that makes more sense. So I am going to just look at Find Learning to find some courses that I'm pretty sure I built. That way I don't delete anybody else's testing data. That'd be my luck. Somebody would be waiting on a certification or something and then I would go and delete it. So I believe I can probably get rid of this one. But we have a recycle bin, so I can restore it. That's not a good example because it's a single activity course. We'll use this one. It should have a bunch of stuff in it. Okay, so again, a few things that you might want to consider doing for deleting just activities and resources. So something that I have done in the past, especially when I'm developing and building new courses, this is a really big course, but I add in an additional topic, and I'm going to have to add two because I have orphaned activities. If you're wondering what that orphaned activities is, if you didn't get the chance to join us last week, that is, or week before last, that's what we talked about. So that should be up there on YouTube. I need to probably double check and make sure I did that. So one thing I like to do, you don't have to label it trash can. I just do, so I know what it is. Say you have some stuff that you're going through, maybe you've got some testing stuff in your course and you're like, ugh, I don't need any of that junk anymore. So you can move all that test data down into your trash can, or if you have a section that is just the area that's where you put that kind of stuff, you can absolutely just delete the whole topic. So you don't have to delete individual activities one by one by one by one. So you do have the ability to delete the entire topic with stuff in it, and it will just wipe out all of the stuff that was in it. So that's just kind of a little trick that sometimes people don't realize you can do. They think you have to go through and delete things one by one by one. So now let's look at that recycle bin for the course. if you have Recycle Bin enabled and if you're on version 12. So if you're not on version 12 yet, this might be an incentive, I don't know. But course administration, Recycle Bin. Right now it's saying recently deleted resources are being processed and will appear soon. So I forgot on that. I do need to run the cron script. You guys shouldn't have to do this. This script that I'm running automatically, it runs pretty frequently on your site automatically in the background. So you don't have to run this very often. Sometimes it comes in handy when you're testing, but you shouldn't ever have to run it on production. Okay, so we'll come back in here in just a second. It does take them a minute to appear. Let's see if they're in there now. There they are. Okay, so here are all of those different resources that I just deleted. And you'll see here that it says contents will be permanently deleted after 7 days. So that'll be when we go look at the administrative settings, you'll see where we can manipulate how long it keeps things. If you want to restore it, it's super easy. You click the restore button and then it just restores it and throws it back in the course. So that's a really nice feature for any of you who are like me and sometimes accidentally fat finger something and totally delete something on accident, or you get click happy. I've done it before, and I lose some of my data. So that's nice to know that that's there. So let's take a look at getting rid of a bunch of courses. So underneath the gear icon, courses and categories, keep in mind the bulk delete. So bulk deleting activities and resources, bulk deleting courses, you can do all that on any version of Totara, right? The only thing you're going to be missing in any other version is the recycle bin. So another thing that you can do on UAT sites, specifically, that's typically where you do it. I do have some clients that do have a trash can category on production. So that's something that you might do, but typically we see it more so in UAT. Okay, so you can create that trash can. I do have one client that has one called to be deleted, right? So they're going to put all their stuff in there once they're ready. So you can grab all these. I don't think you can drag all of them at the same time. I may learn something new here myself. I'm having a hard time holding on to icons today. Yeah, no, it won't let you. You can drag them one at a time, or you can just do this, super easy, move to trash can. Once they're in there, you can click to delete that entire section or that entire category. Make sure you're deleting the right category. It will tell you up here. It'll give you two options. You can move it from one category to another, or you can delete everything, which is what we're going to do here. It says it can't be undone, but that's old. Now we've got a recycle bin, and you can undone that. Okay, so continue. Okay, so that's gone. So are all those courses that are in there. But underneath category miscellaneous, or the category that you're in, or wherever that category lived, where those courses lived, you do have a recycle bin located there. Says there's nothing in there yet. Again, it's gotta run the cron. So keep in mind, if you do have the recycle bin, it may not be there immediately. And I may have just discovered something that it might not come back if you delete the whole category. So we may have just learned something here, guys, and I can send a ticket to Totara and confirm that. But I'm not seeing them appear. And I'm wondering if it's because I'm in the category miscellaneous, that's where the recycle bin is located. And if you'll remember, I created a category and then we deleted the whole category. So technically that recycle bin is no longer around. So that cannot be undone message is very, very true. But if we go in and we manage the category, let's take a look at how you can get rid of something in that category. So I'm going to get rid of feedback test. probably a junk course. Deleted everything in that course. Now let's go look at the recycle bin. There's that entire course. So I would venture to say that that is what happened, but I'm going to actually follow up with Totara, and I'll post it in the comments what they respond back with, because that actually is pretty interesting to me, and that makes sense where the recycle bin is located as to why I can't restore all of those courses back. So I'll follow up with them and post that back in the comments. Restoring just the course, pretty easy to do. Click on restore and then go back to your miscellaneous, and there it is. It does put it at the top then of that category, so you do see that it has been restored. So all this talk about recycle bin, how do we turn it on? I just search for recycle, and it does come up. I'm going to go ahead and click on it though so you can see the file path where it's located. So it is located underneath plugins, admin tools, recycle bin. So it's going to be here, admin tools, recycle bin. You do have to enable it. So if you're not seeing it on your production or on your version 12 site rather, if you're not seeing it on your V12 site, it's because it may not be enabled. So you do need to turn that on. And then you do need to turn on your category recycle bin as well. And then you can determine how long are you planning on keeping that stuff. One thing to keep in mind from an administrative server perspective, you probably don't want to hold on to that stuff forever. You don't want to hold on to it for a really, really long time because you don't want to encourage people to put things in there and then just let it sit there and take up space on your server. So, 1 week, I think that's pretty doable, but you can up that to 30 days, however long you want to keep it there. Same for this. Then there's also an auto hide option. So if your recycle bin is empty, if you have this selected, then that recycle bin won't show until you've deleted something and it's sitting in the recycle bin. At that point, then it'll show up and you'll be able to access it. I personally don't feel a need to turn it off. It's just another setting in my perspective there, and it's kind of comforting knowing it's there. So I like to leave it on. Okay, so that is where you're going to turn them on. I was glad that I deleted all those courses because I learned something new myself. It makes sense to me why it's doing that, but I will confirm with Totara that that is expected behavior. However, I presume that they will say that it absolutely is. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. Really kind of short and sweet today, but another nice new feature to version 12 that we wanted to showcase, along with a couple other little tips and tricks. I am now going to turn the floor over to you guys. If you have any questions, we do have quite a few folks in the room today, so I'm happy to hand over a mic if you want to ask your question. Maybe easier than just kind of going back and forth through the chat there. So go ahead, feel free if you have any questions to post those now. If not, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you back here not next week, but the week after.